All right, everybody, what's going on? This is your boy Billy Wayne back with Legacy United, a Righteous Project Inc. podcast. Back with the new episode as always, here with my boy, longtime friend. But I'm going to let him introduce himself, man. So go ahead, sir.
What's up, man? My name is Chadwick Elliott. I'm with the Denver Tax Group LLC. That's my company. Longtime friend Billy, old Park Hill mates,
right?
I'm pleased to be on this show today.
Man.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you, man. Glad to have you.
Yes, sir. Feels good to be in the building.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
And as you guys already know, what we do is we invite local entrepreneurs, people that manage or operate nonprofits themselves as well, even people in the corporate world, people who earn degrees, or even trades as well, just to come on and share their story about where they came from, what they've been through, success stories, struggles, everything that got them to where they are today, man. So I'm going to pass it back to my boy Chad, and let him spin it, man. So go ahead, man. What you got for us today?
Cool, man. All right. Well, shoot, man. I got a word to share. First off, man, I'm just thankful that you let me come on your platform.
That's what's up, man.
And just kind of talk about my story.
Yep.
And, I've had some good mentors in my life and some good people that have backed me in my life, where you kind of get to a point where they say, hey, maybe share your story.
Right.
Yep. They said it's powerful to start sharing your story.
Right.
And, and that's something that I'm learning to do. Just start talking about my story, talk about, how I got to where I did, because all our stories are different.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it is our story. And sometimes when we live it and then we talk about it, then sometimes people can vibe with you and realize that we're not so different. And with the right, if you get your mind right, get your heart right, man, you can definitely make it a beautiful story.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like you said, everybody has a different story, and just sharing it, something for other people out there to hear, or even people that's going through the same thing, man. You never know who's going to pick up that story, who you're going to motivate and get to where they need to get as well, man. There's always somebody out there that's definitely going to take a lot back from your story, man. So you're right. Yes, sir. So yeah, man, let them know kind of from the beginning where you came from, grew up at, and everything like that, man.
No doubt about it, man. So I'm a native, grew up here in Denver, Colorado.
What's up?
Love Colorado, Rocky Mountains, baby.
Right.
I mean, beautiful. Love my state.
Yes,
I grew up in the city of Denver and in the neighborhood of Park Hill, Hillside.
Yep.
That's it's in my veins. It's in my
Right.
bones. Beautiful, childhood coming up. Also, too, a lot of it was the 80s, late 80s,
Yep.
early 90s when I was coming up. It was a lot of gang violence. There was
Right.
a summer of violence at one time. I believe Denver was, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think at one time we made murder capital one time.
Oh, okay, man. I have to.
That's not it's an infamous thing, but but
right.
a lot of people were dying during those times.
Well, I think that's an important spot to hit on, because a lot of people don't know about that part of Denver, man. Park Hill, even on the west side as well, man. There was a lot of stuff going on during that time that was hidden from the public.
Yes,
and we were kind of in the middle of that, even as kids growing up. Yes. A lot of gunshots outside all the time. I mean, at this time, we still hear about it. It's definitely gotten bad again.
Yes, we still got it.
But growing up, man, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and if you ever let anybody know out of state that you were from Denver, Colorado, man, they never really put that type of image on you, know. So it definitely had its quirks at that time, for sure.
It's got its quirks, man, and that's why I always say that I don't regret anything. I'm thankful for the life that I've led and where I come from. I'm proud of it. As I became more educated about our history and like the history of Denver, the history of Park Hill, the East Side, Montbello, the West Side. I mean, just the whole conglomerate. Is it just makes me see it from a full picture, man. We got a beautiful place, but we definitely came up in a storm, and really though, it's an interesting dichotomy that we have with the. I'm gonna start with just from my personal experience, but like with the black community in Denver, Colorado, coming up. If you're a black kid coming up in Colorado, you blend with the white kids, you blend with the Latinos.
Right.
We have all those elements blended in there, and it's a beautiful pot of gumbo, I would say. I don't know. It definitely influenced. You wouldn't think that in Denver we would have the type of diversity. I grew up with a lot of diversity.
Yep.
I was in an all-black neighborhood, but I had a lot of diversity.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, same.
I speak that Spanish. I have no lick of Spanish in me, but I speak a little bit of that Spanish. I just picked it up from people.
Sí.
Si habla español. I got a little bit of that. I can talk that dinero, I always say.
Right.
But it's just been all a part of my upbringing. But what brings me here today, and what I like about the Righteous Project and what I've been following, what you guys are doing, is I love the heart of it, financial literacy.
What's up?
For the youth,
right?
And I know it goes deeper than that, but that's what catches my eye. I feel like, Billy, you found something that we're missing, and everybody I talk to, this is covered in so many conversations that I talk with people. Like this is what's missing, and across all demographics. Man, I wish they taught me how to, keep my credit right, balance a bank account. How do I establish these things? And I love the vision that you have with the Righteous Project.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
And me as an entrepreneur, I love how it comes back to me, because now I'm out here doing that. That's my life.
Exactly.
I've been self-employed for 15 plus years.
What's up, man?
I've been self-employed. And man, there's nothing. I don't know. It's not for everybody, for sure.
Right.
Being self-employed is not for, and there's nothing wrong with having a good job.
Right.
And doing it. I mean, there's so many paths. To success. But it's just, for me, the entrepreneur lifestyle is what is me. It fits my lifestyle. Here in America, man, that is the beauty of America. You can open a business. I mean, I know it sounds basic, but that's what it is. You can open a business. You can have some ownership. You can put yourself in a position, to have some success. And I think that's one of the beautiful things. I feel like Colorado is one of those places where those things can happen. And a lot of people don't think this, but I think that I always say this. A black person, a person of color can actually make it in Colorado and be successful, because there's racism in our state, for sure. Not to say that that's not the case, but there's just so many opportunities for people to succeed if they just, open their eyes, get focused up. It's there. It's there.
I agree, man. It is there, and it's a matter of finding that way, right? I mean, we have kids growing up, even when we were young as well. There were certain role models. Certain role models that we had to look up to, and to be real, a lot of those role models were drug dealers and gang members, man, and that's real.
Like you telling them,
hey,
that was our role model.
That's real, exactly, and that's what we had to look up to, and today. There has been a shift, right? Now there are a lot more entrepreneurs, business owners, people out there making their way from our generation.
Yes, sir.
But there's still also that dynamic of, gangbanging too. So it's really that struggle between trying to help, the next generation focus on what's going to benefit them for the long run, that longevity type of lifestyle, versus the get rich quick, which doesn't last long at all. And you're trying to help them understand what is better. And I can understand that, man, 20 years from now, oh man, if you do this and this right and do this, oh, you're gonna be sitting on something.
I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Healthy. And it's like, man, but especially when you're young, you're like, man, I ain't got 20 years to wait. I want to do it right now. So there is that balance that you got to try to find to help shift that mindset, because you can, man. I mean, and just like you said, man, you've been you've been self-employed for 15 years now, man, and you love it.
Love it.
Right? You wouldn't see any other way.
No, sir.
Exactly. So people don't understand is that there are a lot more things to focus on than just that getting rich quick type of stuff, man. I mean, you just got to focus on it, and then it might take a few years to get there. It might take longer than you want to, but you're going to get there, man. I think that's the biggest thing.
Man, I think you hit that nail on the head. I talk with this with my kids. I got 2 children.
Yeah.
I'm a single father. I got a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
So my daughter's 12 and my son is 10.
Yep.
So just to let you know, I got my hands full.
Right.
All day long.
Sounds like it, man. Yep.
But what I try to tell them, Billy, is they're focused on money. And I think that's natural because within our society, everything's flashy. Money solves all problems.
Yep, right.
And don't get me wrong, money can be an awesome tool.
Yeah, right.
I said, but I love how you hit on it, like where you're talking about lifestyle, goals. You said, hey, if you want to live a longer, good lifestyle, if you want to do certain things, it's not so much. We do so much on counting. We put so much value on the money when we need to be putting value on what it brings us. And what's valuable to us. Right. Once you start to, and this was going to be a part of what I was going to say today was, that's helped me out. So, I'll be real brief with it because I can't go too much into it. Mm-hmm. But so at 18 years old, so I grew up in the neighborhood. I was one of the kids in the neighborhood, man. I did, I did it all. I was hustling out there, and I was, and I had partners that were in a way worse position than I was. Yeah. But we all grew up together and we had a brotherhood. So I came up with all my partners. Right. And man, so, that was a part of my, my coming of age. Right. But I had a defining moment when I was 18 years old. I had got into some trouble with the law. Okay. And what happened was I was 18. So I was getting I was getting treated as an adult. And let's just say I was scared. Yeah. If you want to see a brother get scared, at first I didn't know what I got into, but once I understood the gravity of what I had gotten into, I realized I was way in over my head. Okay. And I also realized that there's a chance I could lose my life. Gotcha. In the prison system. Yeah. And then I was like, damn, here I go. Another statistic. This is what happened. Yep. But man, one thing that's helped me, that's guided me a lot is my faith, man. My family. So I come from a family so I was raised by a single mother. Yeah. But I grew up around a lot of family. Okay. I got so much family here in Colorado. That's what's up. Okay. And so I had so much support, and everybody always putting positive affirmations in my life. That's what's up. And bigging me up and and showing me a better path. Okay. It just was hard for me personally because I didn't live in that type of environment. So I've always been curious and willing to daydream. Yeah. But the reality always plays a key in your environment. Yep. And so, like how you said, a lot of the people that I looked up to were drug dealers or ex-drug dealers or pimps or some of those things. Yep. Some of those guys were the father figures in our community because we saw them doing well for themselves. We saw them, communicating with the community, and things of that nature. And so that's kind of what you would see. Mm-hmm. And then as you got older, or you're like, I would say like when you're like 15, 16, becoming a young man, you start to visualize, okay, that's what I got to do as a man. Right. When you're coming of age. Yep. And so you start to mimic that behavior. Right. And, you become a product of your environment, as I say. Yep. But what was instilled in me, I was blessed with such a good family and a brilliant mother. My grandma, my aunts, all of them, they installed this optimism, this like, hey, your story goes deeper.
Yeah.
It's not just right here.
Right.
We've got roots,
right.
you know. And one of the beautiful things, Billy, as I got older, I started to see I got entrepreneurs in my family.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Right.
Like they go back pre-civil rights.
Yeah, okay.
My grandmother and my grandfather, Henry Shockley, Gertrude Shockley, they were the first blacks to move into Park Hill.
Oh, wow, okay. Man,
they crossed the color line.
Yeah, I see.
They crossed the color line. There's a clip of it in the newspaper.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, first black family. I got a picture. I'll send you some material.
I appreciate that.
I got a cool pic
that's what's up.
of my grandpa out there.
Yeah.
And cool story real quick.
Yep.
They thought that, so the white folks that were in the neighborhood thought that they were the help for the longest.
Oh, man. I see, yeah.
And my grandpa and them, they played it cool like that.
Okay.
Because they were the first black family.
Right. Yep.
And he had a good friend that helped him get into that house. You know, that even though my grandfather was signing the paperwork and bringing the money to the table, he wasn't the man that was coming at the table.
I see.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
So he had a good friend that got him in the door.
Yep.
And that's deep in my roots. And they had their own business. So when there wasn't the opportunity, I would say, to like work at a nice job or something like a lot of blacks couldn't work at, you know, a good paying job in certain areas. Yep. You know, there's still good jobs out there. There's Gates Rubber Company. There's all these there's these industrial jobs out there. Right. But it really wasn't that much opportunity, you know, like to be, you know, like a lawyer or, you know, the doctors or the accountants and all those things. And so they had their own business. Yep. And it was called Roman Baths. And what they did, they had a spa downtown, and we're very successful doing it, man. And you know, and then I can go even further back where I see instances like that in my family, no matter what the time frame.
Okay.
So I started to understand. I said, you know what? I said, man, in my background, you know, I've always got these, let me make some money schemes here or something like this to get what I need to get.
Right.
I started to realize, hey, Chad, you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
You know, this is what you like to do.
Yep.
You know, you like business and everything like that. And so that's always been my pursuit, no matter what I was doing, you know.
Well, you know what's crazy is back in high school, man, because, you know, we went to high school together and all that.
Yes, sir.
South Rebels, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But back in high school, I seen that as well, man. I remember that you were always in that pursuit as well, and you had that mindset, you know, at that time too, man. And you carried yourself, you know, like a businessman too. You know? I remember those days,
you
man.
remember them days,
you know? So I mean, it was embedded in your personality traits, man, back then too. So
yeah, brother.
Man, everything you speaking right now, man, exactly, you know, how
you see
it's
is
all
what you
back
get.
in the day too. Yep, exactly.
You know, it was in my DNA, man. But what I want to share with people today is get real comfortable with the person that's in the mirror. Yeah. I mean, really, I know people don't understand what I'm saying with that, but what I mean by that, I'm saying take a hard look at yourself, man. Right. Look at yourself, and what I'm saying is, and get to know that person that's in the mirror. I'm not saying change. I'm not saying this or that. Get to know that person. Get to know what you like, what makes you tick, and you got to have an honest look at yourself, because I want you to look at the dark side of yourself. The part that maybe you don't like so much, you know? Right. I said, and look at all of that and learn to, in my opinion, learn to accept that. Yep. And try to find a way to merge that together. Right. You know, and when you start finding that, when you start to love yourself, basically, you love yourself, you start to find out what you're passionate about. You know, right, and that's where it starts there. I'm like, find out what you're passionate about. Yep. And what you're passionate about, I said, then pursue then try to start setting your goals and your dreams and your hopes and your short-term goals, long-term goals. Start setting it around that. But dream big. Dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big.
Right, exactly.
Dream big. You know what they say? What do they say? Reach for the stars and land on the moon.
Yes, you're right. Yep,
exactly. I believe it. It's like put that goal way up there.
Yep.
And if you get here,
exactly.
Man, you just succeeded where you was exponentially.
You know, and like you said, man, when you reach that high, you know, even if you're not able to get to that point,
that's not the point,
you still
right?
land ahead of 95% of people that don't even try, man. And that's the big deal. And that reminds me of a story, right? So I worked at Illich's. It was Six Flags at the time.
Yes, sir.
And I was a janitor. You know? So I was sweeping up the park, cleaning up the bathrooms. And when I first got the job, man, I was 18, maybe 18, 19. And I got the job, and my job was to just sweep and clean bathrooms. So that's all I did. I swept and I cleaned bathrooms. That was my job.
Yes.
My manager approached me one day, my boss at that time, and was like, "Oh man, you killing it. You know, every time I come over here, it's always clean. It's always doing this and doing that." He's like, "Yeah, you know, you're doing a really good job." And I'm like, "All I'm doing is sweeping and cleaning restrooms." But the fact that I was doing my job, I was doing more than everybody else that was in the same department. I was sweeping. A lot of other people would just come in and just hang out. But my mindset was sweep and do bathrooms. You know what I mean?
Focus.
And just from that point, I realized that just by simply doing more than the average, you're setting yourself up, you know, to accomplish a lot more. Even though it was just
at Six Flags.
Exactly, Six Flags. Exactly.
Doing janitorial work, but doing it with integrity, doing it with heart. You know. It's sometimes I'll tell people too. Don't expect. This is a thing too. I saw Ice Cube on a.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he was talking about being an entrepreneur. I mean, at least that's how I interpret it. He might not have been saying entrepreneur, but he was like, nah, he was. He said, when you're a boss, you're not looking for a paycheck. You sign paychecks.
Exactly.
You sign paychecks. You're cutting the checks. So he's like, it's kind of changing your mind, your concept.
Right.
So, and I try to tell people, I do taxes, so I got a tax company. I tell people all the time, I say, hey, if you're the person that's looking for big refunds, there's so many tax business so competitive. There are people out there that could take care of you, TurboTax, whatever it is. And there's a lot of awesome entrepreneurs and small businesses that are out there that can help you with that. For me, if you're looking at trying to keep your tax bill as low as possible, but you know you got to pay, you come holler at me.
Yes, sir.
And this is the reason why, brother, because that's the mindset we're on right now. It's like the reason I pay every year. The reason why I pay Uncle Sam every year in the state of Colorado, I said it's because I hold on to my money all through the year. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to pay. Then at the end of the year, I try to pay as little as possible, which within the legal realm. You know, following laws and everything like that. But using the tax code for small business. And for what we do out there. And I pay Uncle Sam. And that's the name of the game. You make $1, you got to give a quarter or 50 cents. You know, it's not even 50 cents. You make $1, you got to give a quarter. And sometimes you can give less. But on the flip side, you know, that's I want a lot. This is what I like about the Righteous Project, teaching people a lot of these financial. These are the building blocks. These are the people don't understand. Once you get your fundamentals, then you still. So it's like, all right, I'm going back to talking about being passionate about what you do. But I remember when I was talking about my Park Hill story, I said I had these dreams, but I also had the reality that I was living in a neighborhood where somebody was getting popped every time. And okay, you see this, what I'm wearing right here? I could have wore this in my neighborhood that I grew up in. You see this? I'd have been okay. But I didn't wear colors anyway. When I was coming up, I wore black, I wore white, I wore brown. I wear every color in the color wheel except red and blue. Because when I was coming up, when I was a young kid, if you were wearing blue in Park Hill, you could get killed. And if you were wearing red on the east side, you could get murdered. I knew kids that was my age get murdered. 10, 12, it didn't matter. But I had that reality, but I knew within that reality I had to stay neutral, and I had to keep my head on a swivel, and it served its purpose. I survived. I got through that. But then, and then the neighborhood's changed a lot since then, so I'm not going to get into all that. But then on the flip side, when it comes to, you got your dreams and everything, keep dreaming, keep hoping, but you do have to take in the reality of your situation. Right. You might be living on Section 8,
right?
And you got 5 kids, and you don't have 2 pennies to squeeze between your fingertips,
right?
And those are real facts.
Yep.
But that person can still dream,
right?
And you can still put things together.
Sure can.
And so with the Righteous Project, what I like is if you're teaching our youth, because it starts when you're young. If you're teaching people, but you can learn at any age.
Yep.
But if you start learning those financial foundation, if you can build up a foundation, then it starts right there. You can navigate through this world, and you can do a lot. You can accomplish a lot of things just by the basics, by the basics. And so going back to my company, people I write checks. I don't have any checks coming to me. There's nothing like that. But when you start to earn something and you own something, guess what? You get to get a piece of that pie.
Yeah, man. Yep.
You understand?
Yep.
You see the leprechaun going around with his pot of gold.
Yeah.
You get your Lucky Charms.
Right.
You get to have your own Lucky Charms. Someone's not around here giving you a piece of the Lucky Charms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get to say, okay, I filled this thing up, and then let me pay my taxes. Let me take care of the people that helped me get this pot.
Yep.
Let me help these people, and guess what? The rest of the pot is yours.
Yeah, man.
That's hard work.
Yep.
Exactly. And and so we've been doing it for 13 years, man. No, actually, we're in our 14th year.
Okay.
We were downtown for 13 years. Downtown Denver, right in the heart of the city.
Yeah. Yep.
We were doing our thing. Black business, Denver Tax Group. We're doing offering people. The motto of my company is grow strong.
Okay.
Foundation.
Yes, sir.
That's why I use the tree as my symbol, because trees are rooted.
Gotcha. Okay.
Rooted in the ground.
I like that.
And then extend out and extend your limbs.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope, man, I like it. Yep.
But it starts with the root.
Right.
You build yourself some strong roots. When that wind comes blowing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you got a strong foundation, man.
Yes, sir.
Got you, man.
Yes, sir. When the winds is blowing.
Yeah, man. I was going to ask you about that as well, because every business has a logo, and there's always a story behind that logo, man. And I like that. That's deep, man. Literally. What's that? Is that the angel? I was always trying to figure out. Yeah. So with mine, man. Honestly, there's a few ways to interpret it. It's actually hands. It's hands holding up.
Oh, the hands.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. And that. Right above the hands is a book. Then you have your student above reading the book. That's what that is.
Yeah. Hey, now that okay.
Yeah, man.
That's cold.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. But yeah, just like that one, and like exactly right. Damn. So it's like we're trying to hold our youth up and help them give them that lift that's needed. But yeah, same thing, man. Same thing with the logo, man. Building that strong foundation, and I think that's what helps a lot of businesses, right? A lot of local businesses is when you have that passion or even that foundation in your mindset, right? Your logo is just a representation of what you're trying to establish, right?
Yes.
And when you explain it to people, they can see it a lot more. But it's the fact that you have that image of what you were trying to establish is what drives a company for sustainability.
Yes.
Right? I mean, people that go into business just because they think they want to make $1, but don't have anything behind what they're trying to do.
No plan.
They don't
Except
last as
money.
long. Just right. So and you put it that way as well. You got to find your passion.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not about okay, I want to make this. I want to create this business because I want to be a millionaire. Right. Millionaire is you're already setting limitations on where you want to go.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
Because what happens when you make that millionth dollar?
Yes.
Are you going to stop?
Yes.
And that's the end of your game? No, man, because your passion is what is actually driving you to sustain and have a long-term success.
Yes.
Right? And it's not just that end goal, man. You're going to keep on going, and you don't want to stop. So don't put that limitation on yourself by saying, I want to do this just because of this end goal. because then you're going to stop and you're not even
limiting yourself.
Exactly. You're not even getting to the moon yet, man.
You're not getting to the moon. The mission continues. Man,
exactly. That's why they call it. They say sky's the limit, for a reason.
Sky's the limit. Yes.
But you can also break through that too, man.
Ooh, work through them glass ceilings.
Exactly.
I get excited about when we talk about these things, Billy, because I think there was a time in my life, probably especially like when I was like early 20s.
Yeah.
I by the grace of God, I had beat my case.
Yeah, that's what's
and
up.
what I mean, I beat my case. I had entered to a program, a deferred judgment.
Okay.
Where it was like if I was good for 2 years, then I have a clean record.
What's up? Okay.
And that's what I did. But what I didn't know was that there's such thing as an arrest record. So there's what you're charged with, and there's the arrest record. So arrest record is just a record of anything, any interaction that you've had with the law enforcement, and if you were arrested. So you could be arrested for murder, but
even if you beat it,
but they were like, you're acquitted, you're not guilty.
Yeah,
everybody's like, yo, this cat was a murderer. Okay, and everything. And so what I learned, I got my record sealed.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I got my record sealed because I started trying to get jobs out there. Yeah. So I changed my life.
Gotcha.
I said, hey, I'm not going this direction. Right. I'm getting out of these streets.
Cool.
I'm getting focused. I got scared. I said, I don't want that to be my lifestyle.
Right.
And so I went out there. I went out into the free world. I was like, let me do business. I'm smart at it. Let me do it. And I kept I would get the jobs because that was back in the day where people were still interviewing you in person.
Yeah.
So I could make a good impression.
Okay.
I could talk to them, tell them what I know.
Right.
They'd be like, brother, you got the job. We're just waiting on the background check.
Oh, yeah.
I said, done. We good, right?
Okay, yep.
And then I wasn't getting calls back.
Oh, man.
My line went cold.
Yeah.
And so I say, hey, you know what? I was like, what's going on? I call back. They go, hey, man, you got a record for this and that. I'm like, hey, man, this was dismissed and this.
Right.
By the time you're having that conversation, they're already like,
yeah, their mindset's already.
This is not going to work for us. We ain't going to get started on the wrong track.
Yeah. Wow.
So I did some investigation about that.
Okay.
And I got my record sealed.
Okay.
But I'll tell you another story.
Yeah.
Love you to death. Love you to death. Rest in heaven, Unc. I'm not going to reveal your name.
Yeah.
But this is my life story. My uncle, I came from the hood.
Yeah.
My uncle had ruined my credit before I even became 18 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was on them rocks. I'm gonna just keep it. He was smoking those rocks.
Yep.
He was a drug addict. And he had he didn't really care.
Right.
So he used my social. So all my stuff was messed up. But by the time I hit 18,
wow. Yeah.
So when I got a real job.
Yep.
And I started making some money. I tried to get myself a place.
Oh, okay.
Try to get my energy bill on. Try to get my utilities. Try to get this. Try to get that. They were like, brother, you owe us money.
Dang. Oh, man.
I said, how you got money?
Yeah.
I just got started.
Man, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm 18. I've been living at my mama's house.
Yeah,
man, come on, brother.
Man.
So I had all these things, and what it did was it made me think, my life is over. And I know it sounds crazy, but I just was like, I can't get any credit.
Yeah.
I can't get a place. I can't become self-sufficient. I couldn't.
Right.
I wanted to buy a house.
Yep.
I was ahead of my time. I couldn't do that.
Right.
I couldn't get the job, I wanted. And so I just was running into so many roadblocks.
Yeah.
That, I really didn't know I didn't know what to do. I wanted to disappear, man.
Dang, yeah, man.
I wanted to disappear, brother.
Right.
I wanted to.
Wow.
I was looking up books. I was like, man, I'm moving to England.
Yeah.
I'm like, England. I'm like, can I get a new? Do I get a new Social Security? Right. I was like, I need to start fresh.
Oh,
I need something. Okay. I said, I want to do something.
Right.
And still have a life.
Yep.
But then, let me tell you, Billy, something hit me, man. Through all these, through these hard nights and stuff like that of just you just keep running into roadblocks and everything and these hard nights and broke nights, man. Stomach rumbling, man. Right, I was skinny in my 20s, and I'm not a skinny dude by nature,
right? No,
but I was a skinny guy,
okay.
And And the thing was, I started to think, like, just kept thinking. There's always a little glimmer of hope I kept.
Right.
I said, you know what? I still have
Right.
some opportunity where I could put myself in a position. I got to figure this. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
And what I started to do, man, I just started to reach down deep.
Yep.
And I said, you know what? I don't know when the day happened, but one day it happened where I said, I've got to accept reality where I'm at.
Yeah, man.
And everything that's going on.
Right.
And then from there, I got to move from honesty.
Yeah.
And I said, and I got to try to make something of myself. I got to try to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just started there. Nice. It was real basic.
Yep.
And I had these dreams. I wrote down these goals.
Right.
I've been reading some books. I know we'll talk about books and stuff.
Right.
And I was getting inspired. And then, and it was like a resurgence happened in me.
Right.
You know. And from that time, I had realized that I said, you know what? God's always had me.
Right.
So it's not God. I was like, where I'm at is me. Okay. You know, I got a partner. He always tells me this. He said I was in my own way. And so I had to get out of my way. Right. You know what I'm saying? I had to get out of my way. My ego, my pride, everything was just blocking my blessings.
Yep.
And I had to get out of my way.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, brother, man, I started flowing.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
I started flowing.
You know, honestly, with what you just said, takes people a lifetime to understand. You know, and really what it says is taking accountability of your situation and your actions, and then figuring out how to move on from there, right? And when you said that, it reminded me of the movie, man. I just watched it the other day again. Creed. I think it was Creed, the first Creed.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
Yeah, with Rocky, and when he was actually starting to train him, and he had him stand in front of the mirror, and he was like, "All right, so you're gonna spar with yourself." And when he jabbed, you know, he was like, "Okay." He was like, "So what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm jabbing." He's like, "But you're not moving out the way." You know, so as you make your move, you also got to make sure that you're getting out the way as well. Woo! So that is exactly what stuck with me, man. And when you said that, that's exactly what popped in my mind, because it's true. As soon as you take accountability, regardless if the situation happened to you and it's not your fault, you make it your fault and you figure out how you're going to move on from there.
Yes.
You know, because life happens to everybody, man. So that's deep.
Yeah, I had some good friends too, some good support that would be in my ear. Own your own. Own your mistakes.
Yeah,
now there's things that happen in your life that you have no control over. There's people that have caused those things to happen in your life.
Yep.
You know, and they're accountable. I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, you have to be accountable for your part.
Exactly.
Your part.
Right. Yep.
Figure out your part. Yep. Own it.
Right.
Shape up, man. Yep. Ship up, you know, because everybody can do it, you know, and it takes a little self-care, man. I'm gonna tell you, my grandma taught me this.
Yeah.
Brother, it don't hurt, and I'm glad this is deep rooted in our community. Sure. Man, when you wake up in the morning, brush your teeth. Right. Wash your face. Right. Yeah. You know what? You put on your clothes, it doesn't hurt. Throw a little crease on those things.
Yeah, man, right, exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with throwing a little crease on it.
Right.
You know, because sometimes I'll have a shirt, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put on this shirt. It's a lazy day. That's okay. Have a lazy day. No, I'm not saying that. Right. But sometimes iron your shirt.
Yep.
Because you're showing that you care about yourself.
Exactly. Right.
Tie your shoes. Yep. I don't know. Just wipe them off with a rag real quick. They don't got to be the cleanest. Yep. You ain't got to have the best, but take care of what you have.
Yep.
And appreciate what you have. Yep. You know. And one thing that, you know, and this is what I love. I don't know if you guys are teaching this at the Righteous Project, but I don't know what category this falls in. But like, one thing I notice is in our community, we love flashy stuff.
Right.
And I have no problem with that. I like flashy stuff. I'll be lying to you if I did. Told you I did not. It's a part of me.
Yep.
But like, why? Like, you're wearing your own brand.
Yeah.
Like, we got to change our mindset.
Right.
Like, why are we buying? Someone will buy that same hoodie, Louis Vuitton, spend thousands of dollars on it.
Exactly.
Same material, come from the same manufacturer.
Man, preach.
Made in the same spot. Let me tell you.
Tell them.
You know, but they'll throw that little on there for you.
Exactly.
And then everybody's like, man, this gives me status. This gives me acceptance. This gives me access.
Yep.
I get that.
Yep.
Reverse your mind though.
Right.
Where you start to think, you know what? Let me invest in myself. Exactly. And when I be invest in myself, invest in your health, invest in your mind.
All that, right.
Invest in those things. The financial fundamentals.
Yep.
Get your financial fundamentals, because if you're going to operate in this society, you have to have your finances in order. Right. You want to go buy a house.
Exactly.
You want to open a business.
Right.
You want to go into business with somebody.
Yep.
You want to, I don't know, grow your return. I don't know what your goals are, but you have to have the financial principles down.
Yep.
And I feel like that's how come you see that people that do have wealth, and I'm not talking about being rich, but and I know some of these folks.
Right.
When people have wealth, they don't flaunt it. And the reason why they don't flaunt it is because they understand they don't have to.
Exactly.
And the reason why they don't have to, because they got it.
Yep.
You don't got to flaunt it if you got it. And then when you want to flaunt it, that's okay.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be spending yourself out of house or home just so you can feel accepted.
100%.
Just look in the mirror. That's free. You can accept your free game. Free game one-on-one. Look in the mirror and accept yourself, man. Exactly. Just how you are. Right. Jelly rolls, everything, whatever you got going on. Right. Accept yourself, because you can only move up from there. Right. Because then you're accepting a responsibility, and that's something that it's an ever-changing thing for me, but it's something that is allowed me to think outside the box and figure out, hey, man, how do we crack this egg? Yeah, if you put out an idea out there, we got to be able to think about it. If you're like, hey, man, we got this investment. Right. And I'm like, okay, tell me about this investment we're doing. You're like, I got this idea. I'm like, all right, cool. Now I'm coming to the table. I'm like, you know what? How can we, this is what I'm thinking. Yeah. How can we team up on this? Right. Okay. And work together? Right. Because communication is key. Exactly. You know, and one of the big things in communication, you got to have honesty. Yes, sir. We got to have an understanding. Right. You know, and a loyalty to our cause. Right. Exactly. It's not about, that has nothing to do with money. Right. Yep. We got to get that out the way. Right. Once we get that out the way, then it's like, okay, what's the idea? And how do we make money off of this? Sir. How do we make $1 out of this? Yes, sir. Right. How do we support? But then as we get older, that question has changed for me. When I was in my 20s, I was like, how do I make $1? Yeah. Now I'm like, how do I feed my family out of this? How do I set them up? How do I set how do I build my foundation? Right. Right. Well, you know, I'm thinking, you know, when you start thinking like that, you know, then it changed. And I want folks to start thinking about, if you're spending your dollars, spend it on something that's going to bring value to your life, real value. Right. And if your values are Gucci, you need to change your values, because that's cheap. You got cheap values, because Gucci's cheap. It's expensive.
As soon as you buy that shirt, the value goes down to zero. Now you might be able to flip it. You might be able to flip that.
You might be able to flip that thing.
If you're a businessman and you flip it, that's what's up. You're in the right mindset. But the majority of people that purchase for those specific reasons, just because they want to be on that status, that value of that shirt is already down to zero.
Yes, sir. Same with cars. Yeah, exactly. Right. With vehicles. Yep. All that, man. And so you start buying assets. I'm gonna give a simple thing. I'm gonna give y'all some tax game too.
There you go. Take notes.
There's a term called depreciation. Look that up.
Let them know.
Depreciation. But you can't depreciate everything. Right. What you can depreciate is something that has value. Okay. So, what has value? An asset. Yes. That's a financial term. An asset. Let them know. You see this microphone I'm talking on right here? This is an asset. People don't even think, the smallest thing you ain't thinking about.
You're right.
This microphone's an asset.
Yep. It's in my books. Yeah.
So, a water. So this water is an expense.
There you go.
Okay? And it's okay. You're going to have expenses. Yep. That comes with the name of the game. Yep. Nothing's free. But this asset right here, what this is going to do is it has value. Why does that have value? Because it's providing a value right here because we're using it. Yep. But then on the flip side, let's say that you decided to stop doing this podcast. Yep. You said, you know what, man, I'm good. I did my podcast thing. Boom. We did it. We killed it. We made millions. Yeah. But then he's like, you know what I'm going to do? He was like, someone else might want to set up a podcast. and I'm selling this for a fraction of the price that I bought it for.
Right.
Or it might have the same value because you can't get them.
Yeah, exactly, right.
So guess what? It still has value. Exactly. Whether it's a lower or less, it still has value. And so what you're able to do is you can sell this and you can recoup some of your money. And you can use that money to use for other things. But another gem, you can write off an asset on your taxes when you own a business.
Tell them.
You can depreciate this asset,
right,
and it acts as a deduction. So not only are you getting the value out of using this microphone,
yes, sir,
it's not eating into your pocket,
right?
Because see, you got to pay taxes on the money you make.
Yep.
But if you're using the money you make for something that you need under your business,
yes, sir,
you don't got to pay taxes on
it. That's it.
So guess what I call that? That's called keeping that dollar right in your pocket.
There you go.
And then you're using it to make more dollars for you, for your family, for whatever you got going on. And that's just a simple example
it is.
That I want to share with people, that when you start thinking about the things that you buy, think about America. Mm-hmm. One of my backgrounds is economics.
Yeah, that's what's up.
What do they call it? I'm a novice. I wouldn't call it a novice. I'm a lay person.
Okay.
For economics, but I'm like an amateur economist because I study it. I love it.
Yep.
You know, that's it. And I don't have any degrees in it or anything.
Yeah.
But it's just something that fascinates me.
Yep.
Okay.
I understand, man. I understand.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And so one thing about economics is that in America, we have this formula we use. It's called the GDP.
Oh, he gonna drop the GDP.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too technical, but I'm let y'all know.
I like it, man.
So,
go ahead.
So the GDP is the gross domestic product.
Right.
So it's this valuation system that the world uses to determine the wealth of a country.
Yes, sir.
So United States right now, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't looked up the facts. China might be in there. I don't know. I'm just going to keep it 100.
Yep.
But last time I checked, USA has the highest GDP in the world. Mm-hmm. Gross domestic product. So saying that technically we're the wealthiest country in the world. Mm-hmm. And so where I'm going with this is what goes into the GDP formula is a term called consumption.
Right. Yep.
Consumption. And what consumption is what we consume, what we buy. Yep. And so America has the largest I can't think of the term, but we buy the most shit.
Yep.
I'll edit that out if I cuss.
Product. No, you good.
Yeah, but we buy the most things.
Yep.
And so think about that.
Right.
Think about that. Think about what you buy. Think about when you go to the store, you're getting groceries. Thinking about when you're buying that water.
Exactly.
When you're buying that. When you're buying your Gucci.
Yep.
When you're at, I said when you're buying a car.
Right.
When you're buying everything, start thinking about those things and just kind of think like, okay, this is my lifestyle. This is part of my lifestyle. And if you think about it, you buy a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Even if you don't have any money.
Right.
Figure this out.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you, even if you don't got $1 to your name, I guarantee you buy a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
Everybody buys a lot of stuff in America. Right. It's a part of our thing. And so coming back, bring it full circle. When we're coming to taxes, why not open up a business?
Yeah,
why not become an entrepreneur?
That's what I'm saying.
Why not turn your passion into something that brings economic to your house?
Right.
In some way, shape, or form.
You're right, man. And on top of that, you were saying that Americans are the top consumers, right? There's also stats out there. Look it up. The black community is also the highest percentage consumers within America as well. So, but they're also some of the lowest percentage earners in America too.
We don't keep it.
So exactly. So as soon as that dollar hits our pockets, I think it's the rate is like within a few days, if not within a day. It's within a few days that dollar goes right back into the economy, circulation.
But it doesn't stay within
exactly.
The black
it doesn't.
community.
It's not invested into the community. But then you look into other cultures, communities. They sit on their dollar a lot longer, within weeks, probably even a month, and it's recirculated into their community. That's the biggest thing that people do not understand, especially within our culture, is that we are investing into the wrong things. Period. Point blank. Is that, think about it. Once again, America top consumers, black community, top consumers within that group.
I know that.
And then one of the lowest communities of earned income as well. So that's a big deal, man. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's my nugget, but I'll pass it back your way, man.
Man, I love that. I'm gonna piggyback off that nugget because what Billy's saying is so deep rooted, and it goes back to what I'm saying, that before you are able to spend with your brothers and your sisters and in your community, which is a beautiful thing to do, but before you got to learn to spend with yourself. And that's what I'm talking about. Right. Like, not everybody's going to open a business and stuff like that, but there's all kinds of different stuff. That's a whole different episode if you would talk about financial tactics and stuff. Right. Okay. You don't have to be self-employed, but it's just that the tax code that everybody has to pay was, from my understanding, this is my opinion and my understanding, that it was built, the tax code favors the wealthy. Yeah. Okay. And the wealthy get the most tax breaks. But the reason why the wealthy get the tax breaks because they have the wealth. And they so happen to have the most representation within our democracy. Yes. And so what they do is they influence it in a way that benefits them, their life, their lifestyle, and it just allows them to accumulate more wealth. Right. And so the thing is, most wealthy people don't work a 9 to 5. Right. But what they do is they actually own the building where you work your 9 to 5. And there's not, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they do. They own. So you have the ownership. So I'm bringing ownership back into the table. Yep. And so what happens is, if the tax code's written to benefit them, and most of the people that are wealthy own businesses or investors in businesses, the tax code also favors businesses.
Yes, it does. It does.
And you don't have to be wealthy to have one. Right. And that's what I hope you catch. You don't have to be wealthy to have a business. Right. All facts. You do not. And that's the beauty. So anybody can step into this realm. Right. And it's not to make any man, I've set up so many businesses and failed miserably. Right. Yep. I've failed miserably, so I don't want you to think, oh, let me go set up my LLC and I'm about to be balling. Exactly. Disclosure. High risk. Yes. Big time. All that.
Look it up.
Man, but if you're going to bet on somebody,
bet on yourself. Straight up.
Bet on yourself, man.
Yep. Bet on yourself. Hardcore. Exactly. And real quick, man, to touch point on what you were saying about tax breaks and everything like that. So when you think about it, right, there's this analogy I read in Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, great book.
Yes, sir. And they talk about Robin Hood, right? And the rich dad tells him that Robin Hood was not actually doing any service to the community by robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. Okay. Because they're not robbing from the right
at the
community.
Don't do it in your own backyard.
Right. Exactly right, because that's what it is. So when you think about passing laws for tax breaks, the tax breaks only hit the people that have with their above what is that above
what 350
above average.
Yeah, I think like 350K. Exactly.
But it's a lot of money. They don't hit those tax breaks don't hit the millionaires because usually when you have wealth like that, you're investing in certain things. You're investing in properties. You're investing in businesses, and the tax breaks are specifically for those. Because as much as you feel about how people are with wealth, when they invest into buildings and everything like that, they're investing in keeping up those buildings and keeping up the community that the government wants them to do. So when you buy a house and then you get enough equity and you want to buy another house and you rent that house, they're going to give you tax breaks because you're upkeeping the community.
Yes.
You're keeping up with that house. You're making sure that it's still stable and within code. And that's what drives the economy.
Yes.
And that's exactly, where those tax breaks go for. So when you're thinking about it and you got those tax breaks laws and everything, think a little bit deeper on the reason why there's those certain tax breaks. Not saying that it's all fair. But there's definitely a lot more aspects behind where those tax breaks are hitting everybody. You know,
Yes.
And it's more middle class, honestly, man. I hate it. I feel it all the time, bro. You know,
They get hit with
Oh,
the tax.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes. So, all right. So I'm not. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers, but all right. The wealthy get the tax breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The middle class get hammered.
Right. Yep.
And if you're on the low end of the spectrum, of the financial spectrum, you get a lot of tax breaks too. Now that would,
Yep.
but think about that though. That's why you got to kind of step back.
Yeah.
Step back, look at the big picture.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if the people that make less money,
Right.
the lowest earners in our economy, get a lot of tax breaks, it almost incentivizes them to stay within there.
Yes, sir.
Because so many people, and
Right.
there's nothing wrong with it, because I've definitely benefited
Same.
from government services and
Yeah.
things of that
Right.
nature. So
Yep.
it's not to
Same.
demean it by any means, but
Right.
what I want to just try to tell you is just the concept that if it's tax season,
Yep.
and you're like, man, you already thinking about what you're gonna spend your tax refund on. You ain't even
Right.
done your taxes,
Right.
man.
Money's gone before you even see it.
I'm gonna buy this couch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using this as down. I've seen it all. I'm gonna use this as a down payment for my next place. All those things, I get it. You know, and use it for those things.
Right.
You know, that's your little boost.
Right.
But think ahead.
Yep.
Put a little something away from there. Don't use it
Right.
all.
Exactly.
Put a little something ahead, because you need to use that little bit to help you leverage
Yes.
to get out of there.
Exactly.
Because getting a big old tax refund like that
Yep.
is not the ticket.
Right.
You know what? You rather be spending your money all year,
Right.
and making
Exactly.
it
Yes.
instead of trying to give it back. You know, instead of getting a big old refund,
Right.
you get that big old refund. You're happy for a little bit. That money's
sir.
spent. That money's gone.
Exactly.
You know, the same way that you spend money on something that gives you joy. Think about when you spend something that doesn't give you joy, something that you got to spend something on that you have to.
Right. Yep.
You still forget about it. The money gets spent. Why? Because money comes and goes.
Yep.
But the thing is, when you start to think about, like, hey, I don't. When you see, so the middle class get hammered. The reason why the middle class get hammered, the middle class actually is what keeps the economy going.
Right.
So the people so you people in the middle class, you're keeping this economy going. Why?
Right.
Because most of the time you're the biggest spenders.
Yep.
Because you consume. Because you need to. It's like a vicious cycle. It's a good cycle too. Sometimes it's like you got to spend to live. You
Right.
spend to live. You spend, live, and you do it all again. And it kind of keeps you in that cycle. And everybody's making money off
Right.
you. I'm just gonna keep it real. The taxes is getting paid.
Yep.
You're paying the highest taxes.
Right.
There's so many different things. And so for a middle class person, their objective, for the middle wage earner, your objective is to take some of that cash flow that's floating in your world.
Exactly. Right. Yep.
And even if it's a little bit, you got to start somewhere and putting that into something of value for yourself.
Exactly. Yep.
Start putting that into something of value for yourself, because when you're just within this cycle, you're running like a mouse on a wheel.
Yes, you are. That's
You're
right.
running in place.
That's right.
And no matter how fast you go,
Yep.
you're still going to stay in the same place.
Yep. Exactly.
And so it's okay, because sometimes we find ourselves in life, by the time you wake up, you find you're running on the wheel.
Yeah, man. Straight
Hell,
up.
I'm running on a wheel.
Yep.
But you have to try to find a way to get off that wheel.
Right. Exactly.
And so one of those things is investing in things that are valuable to you and your family, and what'll bring value to your family.
Right.
And I always like to keep it with those words and why we do things.
Right.
I don't like to say, oh, just to get the cash or things like that.
Yep.
When you're out there, I always tell people too, relationships.
Yes, sir.
I got taught this by a mentor a long time ago.
Yeah.
Brother, the relationships you build
Right.
are so valuable to your success.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Your relationships you build, the friendships you build.
Yep.
Start thinking about that. That's why I said it starts at a small level. Starts at the home.
Yep.
This applies if you're young, old, in the middle. Who are the friends that you keep around you?
Right.
I love so many people, but on my journey, which I feel like is not unusual, unfortunately, but also too, it can be a bit extreme. Because let me tell you, out of it was a low percentage for me to have some success. If I was going off statistics, I should be dead or in jail.
Right. Gotcha.
In some kind of situation like that,
Yes,
from
sir.
my neighborhood, from
Right.
my demographic, from
Right.
this and that.
Yep.
If you're going off the numbers, but if you start to take accountability for yourself, then you'll start holding others accountable that are in your life. You know, when you make your friends, I tell my son, I say, hey, look, he loves his friends. Yeah. And I respect that. He's got loyalty in him, you know, but I said, hey, brother, look, man, have you noticed that the friend that you're always with all the time is always getting into trouble?
Right.
And I don't got no problem with your friend, but do you understand that now you're getting in trouble?
Yep. Exactly.
But the reason why you're getting in trouble, you may not be doing nothing, but the reason why you're getting in trouble is because they see you with him all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And I said, so what does that do? That makes you guilty by association.
Right.
Now, do I want you to be to turn on your friend and not offer a hand of friendship to your friend and stuff like that? No, I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm telling you that I'm keeping it basic. You hanging around with him makes your life bad.
Right. Right.
It's causing you problems in life because you got your own goals. You have your own things that you want to do. And so when you start to so it works both ways. If you surround yourself around people that are not focused with their life, I'm just going to go with focus. People that are not focused or don't have dreams or don't have goals or don't speak positivity, don't speak life into your realm, then it's the opposite. They speak death. They speak hate. Exactly. They speak all of our hard emotions, our emotions that, you know, that are a part of us. But if used in a negative way, it brings destruction into our life.
Yep, exactly.
And so when you start bringing destruction into your life, you don't even know you're speaking destruction in your life. So when you start saying, hey, I can't do it. I could never be that guy. That's not me. I don't have the resources to do it. I don't know how to figure this out. I don't know how to do this. What you're doing is you are telling yourself you're telling yourself not how to problem solve, not how to think. Right. You're not trying to figure out how to make your life better. You know, and so if you just start, and that just goes back, if you start being accountable and then you hold the people around you accountable and you change your circle to around people that do have goals, that do have success, that are talking about bringing things positive in your life, then that'll actually change your life too, in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a true testimony of that.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. I like it. I like it a lot. A lot of good information straight up, man. I mean just everything you said, man. I couldn't say it better myself. Obviously, man, you know what you're talking about, man. Getting them facts out there as well.
At my moments.
Yes, sir. But so real quick, man, before we wrap this up, I got a question for you. I ask everybody this question.
Yes, sir.
Here. So the question is, right, and you started off the episode by saying you wouldn't change anything in the world, right? From what you went through, which is deep, because that's, you never know what you went through or what happened to you that got you where you are, right?
Yes, sir.
But if there was one thing,
can't tell all the stories.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I feel you. Hey, I hear you. So if there's one thing you could have told yourself, when you were young, basically what you know today, what would that one thing be? And this is a tough one, right? Because when everybody's young, there's a point to where we're all hard-headed, right? We already know what works. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
We gotta go through it. So what is one thing you think that you could have told yourself, or that you would tell yourself when you're younger, that would, kind of spark that change in you?
Okay, that's all right. Well, I'll tell you, I got the cheat code on that.
Okay.
And the only reason why is because I got a brother that I follow on Facebook, and he posted that question.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay.
He posted he was like, if you want to go back to tell your younger self. And so I thought about that, hit me, and I think that is a deep question. I love that question. And the answer that I've given myself is a simple one. It's be patient with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Be patient, man.
Right.
And what I mean by that is be patient with your development. Be patient with your life. Be patient with yourself.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get it on the first round. You're not going to get it on the 100th try.
Right.
But the key is, what I learned is, you got to keep trying and giving your best effort, putting your best foot forward in everything that you do. But at the same time, be patient.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna get it on the same stop trying to run Billy's race.
Oh man, right?
And Billy don't run Chad's race.
You, yes.
You're gonna wear yourself out. Exactly. You're gonna wear yourself out.
Right.
You know, everybody got to run their race. Right. And but man, I like to use the analogy. This is a marathon.
Yes.
You know, not a sprint.
Right.
You know, save a little something in the tank all the time. But at the flip. But it's just take your time, learn your pace. They tell you that in running too.
Right.
Yeah, I'm part of this group called Black Men Run.
Okay.
And it's about
that's right.
it's about health. It's really it's an awesome brotherhood. It's a social thing. It's about health and cardio and taking care of yourself and through running. But one of the things that they taught me was Byron Castle, who's one of the captains in Detroit. Yep. He ran with me the first time, and he said, "Chad, you're running too fast." I said, "What do you mean? How you gonna tell me I'm running too fast?" But okay, you know, I know how to jog.
Yeah.
But then he's like, "Nah, brother, slow down." And what he meant by that, he said, on a technical, but it hit me as a metaphor too. He said, "You have to slow down." I said, "Why?" He said, "You need to figure out your pace." Ooh. He said, "Figure out your pace. Okay. You shouldn't be breathing hard. When you're running your pace. Right. You should be in rhythm. Wow. You should be moving in a nice flow. Right. When you're running your pace. Okay. And then, as you get better at running your pace, you can speed up your pace. You can use it to other objectives. But the key is to learn your pace first and get in your own stride. I like that. You know, when you get in your own stride, then you know what? That's why I said this is beautiful. There ain't no book out here. Yeah. Make your own goals. Yeah, make your own dreams. There you go. Like, what do you got to offer? And then start working from there. Yeah. You know? Yeah, exactly. Wow, man. That's what's up, man. I like that answer a lot. And even with the race analogy, man, like you were saying, is you don't focus on where anybody else is at. You focus on what your goal is, right? And in the race, the goal for that person running is that the line, right? Yes, sir. The finish line. The finish line. What they do, they don't look at, hey, oh man, this person's right here or this person's right there. They're focused on that. They rely on their training and the experience they went through to get them to that goal, right? And they want to make sure to focus on that. When they're training, they're trying to train on how to be as efficient as possible to get to that end goal. Catch these gems. He's dropping them. I'm saying. He's dropping them. And just like in the race. Yes. That's what they focus on. Yes. You know, now when you're about to cross that line, of course, they look and oh man, I got to punch it. You know? And that's the opportunity. Sure. So when you're racing, you done broke that down. Right? In the finish line. Yes. You see that opportunity. Yes. You see somebody reach back out to you. They reply to your email. You got somebody reaching out to you to do some kind of a venue. That's the opportunity, and that's when you punch it. That's when you put it into the next gear, and then that's where you move up to the next level, man. You know yes, I mean? Yes, I love that. But I feel everything you said, man, straight up is the patience, man. Patience and just find your pace and get to your goal, man. Get to your goal, baby. Yes, sir. Cool. Yes, sir. Yes. I appreciate that, man. Well, before we close this out, did you have any final words you want to share with the audience? Man, no, I'm just thankful that you let me be on the cast. I love what the Righteous Project's doing. I love that you got the podcast going now. And, you know, I'm just thankful to be on here whenever you need me or whatever. I'm available. Yes, sir. And, man, I just say keep doing your thing, man. Appreciate it, man. Yes, sir. You as well, man, because, yes, sir. I mean, your industry, our industries are just about aligned. You know what I mean? Yes. Speaking of that, man, did you want to let them know where to find you at? Or oh, yeah. So if you ever want to check us out, check out the DenverTaxGroup.com. You know, check out our website and some of the information we have on there. Okay. And yeah, man, we're here. We deal with you know, small business to medium sized businesses. Yep. We help people with payroll. Nice. We help people get out of tax trouble that you know owe a lot of money. Yeah. And we just try to help people navigate all the tax system and so that their businesses or their personal lives can be successful. That's what's up, man. Yes, I appreciate that. So definitely check it out. Has a lot of good information in there. Will definitely help you guys out a lot as well. So if you like this podcast, if you like this episode, let us know in the description or the comment section on Facebook or YouTube, anywhere you find us at. We're also on Spotify, Amazon Music. What else? We got Pandora.
and a couple other ones in there. All platforms. There you go. That you can find us at. Share it with anybody who you think will find a lot of good information in there, and reach out to us as well. You know, if you have any questions or more questions you would like for me to ask our guests, let me know. If you want to be a guest on the show, I'll send you the link as well. Just you know, keep an eye out for our episodes there. So once again, this is your boy Billy Wayne with Legacy United, a Righteous Project Inc. podcast with Chad as well, and we're signing out for the day. See you guys soon.
All right.